Noah Hale was not important. That was how the galaxy would describe him. A human maintenance assistant on a massive interstellar ship assigned to small problems that no one else wanted to fix. Loose cables, broken sensors, quiet work in loud metal corridors. On the day everything changed, Noah was only trying to do his job. The exploration vessel Wayfarer's promise drifted calmly through deep space. Its white halls were clean and bright, filled with species from many worlds. Humans were new among them, small, fragile, often underestimated. Noah carried a tool bag on his shoulder as he walked through Deck 9, reading instructions on his wristpad. A faulty energy relay. Simple work. 5 minutes, maybe 10. The corridor split into 2 paths. Noah did not notice the warning symbols. He pressed the door panel and stepped inside. The door closed behind him with a heavy final sound. Noah stopped. The room was not a maintenance bay. It was circular, large, and dimly lit. Strange glowing lines moved slowly across the walls like living veins. The air felt warmer, thicker, almost heavy in his lungs. A soft humming sound vibrated through the floor. Noah turned around and reached for the door panel. It did not respond. That was when he felt it. He was not alone. Slowly, Noah turned back. 2 figures stood in the center of the room. They were tall, much taller than him. Their bodies were slender but strong, shaped differently than any human. Their skin was smooth and pale blue, like polished stone under moonlight. Their eyes glowed silver, reflecting the room's light. Alien women. Noah's heart slammed into his chest. They were not armed, but their presence alone made his legs feel weak. One of them raised her head slightly, her expression calm but sharp. The other stood half a step behind, tense. Her hands clenched. For a long moment. No one spoke. Then the first alien woman said, slowly and carefully, in broken English, "You are not meant to be here." Human. Noah swallowed hard. I'm sorry," he said quickly. "I took the wrong door. I'll leave right now." He turned again, panic rising, and pressed the door panel harder. Nothing. The second alien woman stepped forward suddenly. "No," she said, her voice shaking. "You must not leave." Noah froze. "What?" he whispered. The first alien moved closer, her glowing eyes studying him closely. "This chamber is hidden," she said. "If you exit, our presence will be exposed." Noah felt fear crawl up his spine. "Look, I don't know who you are," he said. "I won't tell anyone. I promise." The 2 aliens exchanged a look that Noah could not understand. Fear passed between them. Real fear. The second one spoke again, softer now. "If you leave, we will be found." Noah's hands trembled. Found by who? Before she could answer, the ship suddenly shook. The lights flickered. An alarm began to howl somewhere deep in the vessel. Noah stumbled as the floor vibrated. Beneath his feet, the first alien closed her eyes. Slowly. "They are early," she said. Noah looked between them, his fear mixing with confusion. "Who is they?" The second alien whispered, her voice barely holding together. "Our hunters." Another violent tremor ran through the ship. Somewhere far away, metal screamed and tore apart. Noah's chest tightened. He was trapped in a sealed room with 2 alien women who were afraid, and for the first time since joining the Wayfarer's promise, Noah understood something clearly. He had not just entered the wrong room. He had stepped into the center of a war. The galaxy had tried to hide. Noah's heart raced. He had never felt fear like this before, not in zero-gravity drills, not in safety tests, not even during the small meteor storm that shook the Wayfarer's promise last year. This was real fear. Pure, raw, and it had nothing to do with him. It belonged to the two aliens in front of him. The taller one, Lyra, stepped closer, her glowing eyes narrowing just slightly. Her voice was calm, but there was a tension under it, like a coiled spring ready to snap. "We cannot leave this room," she said. "Outside, they will kill us." Noah's stomach twisted. He wanted to ask more, but no words came. Instead, he asked the only thing that made sense. "Who will kill you?" Seelin, the second alien, her shoulders tight with fear, looked at him as if measuring his soul. "The Devourers," she said, her voice trembling. "They do not stop. They do not reason. They hunt. They consume." Noah tried to imagine what she meant. Creatures that did not reason, that hunted without mercy. His mind flashed to horror stories, to predators on Earth. But this was different. He could feel the gravity of what she said. This was not fiction. This was the galaxy, and he had accidentally walked into it. The floor beneath them trembled again. Lights flickered, and the hum of the walls became a low growl. Noah's first instinct was to run, to slam on the door panel, to escape. But every instinct told him the aliens were right. You need to stay," Seelin said again, stepping closer to Lyra. "They will follow anyone who leaves. If they find you, they will find us." Noah's mind struggled to catch up. He wanted to argue, to bargain, but the fear in their eyes stopped him. He saw something he had never seen before, not just fear, but desperation. These beings, tall and elegant, faced death like he had never imagined. And now, somehow, he was part of their fate. "Okay," he said quietly, almost to himself. I'll stay." Both aliens froze. Their glowing eyes widened slightly, not with disbelief, but relief. Noah couldn't tell. Lyra's lips moved as if forming words, but no sound came. Seelin's shoulders relaxed just a fraction, and she whispered, "Humans, you are unpredictable." Noah frowned. Unpredictable. Lyra looked at him, her glowing eyes softening just a little. "Yes, humans choose to help, even when it is dangerous, even when it is impossible. That is why we trust you." Noah swallowed. He had never thought of himself as brave. He was ordinary. He fixed broken wires. He carried tools. He avoided fights. But now, standing in a room he should never have entered, he felt something shift. He was not ordinary anymore. Not in this moment. The ship shook violently, and Noah almost fell. Sparks flew from a panel in the corner of the room. A low, guttural scream echoed from the hall outside. Lyra and Seelin flinched. "They are close," Seelin whispered. "We can hear them through the hull." Noah's hands clenched. We can't just stay here. We have to do something." Lyra shook her head slowly. "The room protects us for now, but it will not last. Soon they will breach the deck, and then—" Her voice trailed off, but the implication was clear. Death would come quickly, and they could not outrun it. Seelin's eyes met his. "You have a choice, human. You may leave now, live, or you may stay and face them with us." Noah's mind raced. Leave, run, save himself. That was the easy choice. But when he looked at them two beings whose lives depended on the room he had walked into, he felt something he had never felt before. Responsibility, connection, humanity. "I'll stay," he said again, firmer this time. "I don't know how to fight, but I'll do what I can. I won't let them hurt you." For a moment, there was silence. The kind of silence that weighs heavy on your chest. Then, Lyra's shoulders relaxed, just slightly, and Seelin's trembling eased a little. "You are strange," Lyra said softly. "And yet, perhaps, just strange enough to be our ally." Noah swallowed, feeling the weight of what he had just promised. The room felt colder now, or maybe it was the realization that there was no turning back. Outside the glowing walls, horrors waited. But for now, he had made a choice. He would not be just another human in the galaxy. He would stand with them. And for the first time, Noah realized that being human was not about size or strength. It was about courage, fear, and the willingness to act when no one else could. The door hummed softly. The lights on the walls pulsed, and in the heavy silence of that hidden chamber, 3 unlikely allies braced for what was coming. Noah was terrified, but he was not alone. Anymore, Noah's hands shook as he pressed his back against the glowing wall. His heart pounded like a drum inside his chest. The hum of the room was no longer comforting. It was a warning. Every pulse of light reminded him that danger waited just outside, watching, waiting for the slightest mistake. Lyra's eyes glowed brighter as she moved closer to the corner panel, her fingers tracing alien symbols that seemed to shift under her touch. "You need to understand the truth," she said quietly, almost like telling a secret to a child. "You were not meant to see this, but now you must." Noah swallowed. "Tell me," he whispered. I need to know." Seelin's gaze fell to the floor. "Our species. We warned the council," she said, her voice barely audible. "We told them about the Devourers long before they reached the first human colonies. We begged them to listen, to prepare, to act." Noah's mind tried to process her words. He repeated, fear creeping into his throat. They're real." Lyra's eyes softened, and she nodded. "Real enough to destroy entire worlds. Real enough to make planets lifeless in a single cycle. They hunt without reason, without mercy." The council refused to believe it. Or perhaps they did not want to. The ship groaned as another tremor shook the deck. Sparks rained down from a damaged conduit near the ceiling. Noah flinched. The danger was close. "Too close. They are here," Seelin said, her voice quivering. "They always come for leaders first. They know who carries knowledge, who carries hope. And we," she paused, swallowed, and whispered, "we are targets." Noah's stomach churned. He wanted to step back, to press against the door, to find an escape that no longer existed. Then why me?" he asked, voice trembling. "Why are you telling me this?" Lyra's gaze held his. "Because humans are unpredictable. You may not be a soldier. You may not have weapons. You may not even belong in the galaxy yet. But you chose to stay. You chose to face the fear. And that makes you important." Noah's fingers dug into his palms. He had never thought of himself as brave. He had never imagined being important. He was just a human, small and ordinary in a universe filled with wonders and horrors far beyond his comprehension. "You must understand," Lyra continued, her voice softer now, almost gentle. If you leave this room, we die. If you stay, you may survive. But even then, the path will be hard. We are hunted. We are hunted because we refused to stay silent. And now, our fate is tied to yours. The walls vibrated as the ship shuddered under impact. Noah looked toward the door panel. It flickered but did not open. The devourers were outside, tearing through the decks, their screeches echoing through the hull. Fear clawed at his chest. He had never been so enlivened, so terrified. Seelan took a step closer to him. If you stay, you may see things you cannot unsee. You may feel pain you cannot imagine, and yet, if you leave, you will carry guilt for the rest of your life. Noah swallowed hard. Every instinct screamed at him to run, to survive. But the faces of Lyra and Seelan, scared, desperate, trusting him, held him in place. He felt something unfamiliar rise inside him. Responsibility, compassion, humanity. I'll stay, he said, voice firm despite the tremble. I don't know how to fight them, but I won't let them take you. For a moment, silence filled the chamber. Only the low hum of the walls, the distant screams, and the shaking floor remained. Then Lyra's shoulders relaxed just a fraction. Perhaps the humans are right, she murmured. Perhaps courage is not measured in strength, but in choice. Noah nodded, though his throat was dry. He could not run. He could not hide. The choice was clear. Terrifying as it was, he would stay and face whatever came. The glow in the walls pulsed faster now, like a heartbeat. Outside, the devourers drew closer. Their presence pressed against the hull, a dark promise of death. But inside the chamber, 3 unlikely allies prepared themselves. Noah realized, for the first time, that being human meant something in this vast galaxy. Not size, not strength, not weapons, but courage. The courage to face fear, the courage to protect, the courage to stand when running seemed easier. And so he stood, back straight, hands trembling but ready. The alien women beside him, strangers, moments ago, to him not with hope, but with trust. And Noah understood that trust was more powerful than any weapon. The truth had been revealed. The devourers were real. The galaxy was in danger, and one ordinary human had just decided to stand in the line of fire. Noah's hands shook as he looked around the room. Sparks from a damaged conduit lit the walls in flickering yellow. The floor vibrated with every step the devourers took outside. Their growls echoed through the hull, sharp and terrifying, like metal being torn apart. Lyra and Seelan glanced at him. Their eyes, glowing faint silver, were wide with fear. And yet, in that fear, there was something else: hope. They trusted him. They had no choice, really. But still, they trusted him. Noah swallowed hard. His throat was dry. "Tell me what to do," he said, voice shaking, but firm. "I don't know how to fight monsters, but I can try." Seelan took a deep breath and moved toward a control panel in the corner. Her fingers flew over the alien symbols. "We can trigger an energy surge," she said. "It will seal this room temporarily. It will hurt, but it may buy us time." Noah nodded. He knew the chance of success was slim. The ship's circuits were complex. He had only basic training, but for the first time, fear did not control him. Responsibility did. Humanity did. "I'll help," he said. "Show me what to press." Seelan guided him to a panel glowing faint blue. The symbols were alien, but she pointed, gesturing for him to press sequences of buttons in a rhythm. Noah's fingers moved over them, trembling at first, then faster as the logic began to make sense. The door rattled violently. The devourers were trying to force it open. Their screams vibrated through the room, shaking the lights and the floor. Sparks flew from the walls. Noah's chest tightened, but he did not stop. He could not stop. Finally, with a loud hum, the panels lit up. The room shivered as a pulse of energy surged through the walls. The devourers screamed outside, their shrieks piercing, but the door held. For now, they were safe. Noah sank to his knees, panting, sweat running down his face. Did it work? He asked. Lyra stepped forward and placed a hand on his shoulder. Her touch was warm, almost human. Yes, she said softly. Because you stayed. Because you acted when it mattered most. Celine crouched next to him, still glowing faintly. Humans, she said, almost to herself. You are strange creatures. You are fragile. You are small. But you stand when no one else will. Noah felt something in his chest shift. Pride, relief, perhaps both. He had done what no one expected. He had faced fear, and somehow it had made him stronger. The ship shook again. This time it was closer. The devourers had breached another deck, tearing through metal, screaming. The sound made Noah flinch, but he stood again. We cannot stay hidden forever, Lyra said. They will not give up. Noah looked at her, then at Celine. Then we fight, he said. I don't know how, but we fight. Or we survive together. Whatever it takes. The alien women exchanged a glance. For a moment, Noah thought he saw a faint smile on Lyra's face. You speak of courage, she said softly. Not as a soldier, not as a warrior, but as a human. That is more than we expected. Noah nodded. His hands were still shaking, but he clenched them into fists. Fear was there, yes, but it was no longer the master. He could feel it, but it did not stop him. He had chosen to stand, and that choice mattered. Celine gestured to a side panel. There is a way to reinforce the room further, but it requires strength. We cannot do it alone. Will you? Her words paused. She looked at him, searching. Will you stand with us? Noah looked at the glowing eyes of the two alien women. He thought about the devourers outside, about the fear he had felt when he first entered this room. And then he remembered why he stayed. Yes, he said. I will stand. The walls hummed with energy as Noah moved to the side panel. Sparks flew, the lights flickered, and the ship shuddered under the pressure of the approaching monsters. He pressed, twisted, held buttons in a rhythm he barely understood. Guided by the alien women's voices, the room glowed brighter. The energy pulse surged through the walls, stronger than before. The devourers screamed, but the chamber held. Noah fell back, gasping, sweat dripping down his face. Lyra and Celine crouched next to him. You are more than a human, Lyra said softly. You are hope. Noah could only nod. His hands were raw, his chest ached, his body exhausted. But for the first time, he felt something he had never felt in his life. He felt powerful, not in strength, not in weapons, but in courage, in choice, and in that hidden chamber, with the alien women watching, Noah realized that being human was more than survival. It was standing when the universe expected you to fall, and he would stand. No matter what came next, the door shuddered violently. Noah's chest tightened as a bone-chilling scream echoed through the walls. The devourers had reached the deck. Shadows twisted against the glowing panels, stretching long and jagged as the creatures tore through the metal corridors. Sparks rained from the ceiling, and the smell of burning circuits filled the air. Noah's hands shook, but he did not move back. He pressed his palms against the panel in front of him, the cold metal cutting into his skin. The sequence he and Seelan had prepared hummed with energy, ready to surge. This pulse could buy them minutes, maybe enough to survive. They're coming through. Seelan shouted, her voice rising over the groaning hull. Her glowing silver eyes were wide with terror. Lyra crouched beside her, tracing symbols on the wall that glowed brighter with every stroke. Focus, now human. Press the sequence. Press it. Noah's fingers flew across the panel. Sparks jumped, burning his skin, but he ignored the pain. The sequence was unfamiliar, alien, dangerous. One wrong move and the chamber could collapse. But he could not stop. He would not. Not now. A shadow slammed against the door. Metal screamed. The devourer's howls shook the walls. One massive claw scraped the surface, leaving deep gouts. Noah's vision blurred from fear and exhaustion, but he pressed on. Sweat ran into his eyes, stinging, but he blinked it away. The energy pulse surged through the walls. Light flared like a small star. The devourers screamed. Sparks danced across the floor. The first wave of monsters was thrown back, unable to penetrate the reinforced shield. Noah gasped, staggering back, his hands burned and bleeding. "Is it enough?" he asked, voice trembling. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder, steadying him. "For now," she said softly. "But they will not stop." "They never stop." Seelan pointed to another panel. "There is one more surge. It could seal the door completely, maybe permanently, but it will draw immense energy. From you," Noah's heart skipped. "From me." Seelan nodded. Her voice was gentle but firm. "Your body conducts energy differently. If you channel it, you will survive the initial shock, but it will take everything you have. Your strength, your will. Your life may be at risk." Noah looked at Lyra and Seelan. They were trembling, but their eyes were filled with trust. They were counting on him. The thought of abandoning them made his stomach twist. He clenched his fists. "I'll do it," he said. "I don't care what it costs. We survive, or none of us do." They exchanged a glance. Lyra's lips quivered as if she wanted to speak, but she only nodded. Seelan reached for the panel and guided his hands. "Focus. The sequence is complex. One mistake." "No mistakes," Noah said, teeth gritted. "I won't fail." He pressed, held, and channeled every ounce of strength into the alien sequence. Sparks arced, lights flared, and a low hum turned into a deafening roar. Pain seared through his arms, his chest, and his legs. His muscles screamed. His vision blurred, but he pressed on. The Devourer slammed again, throwing themselves against the reinforced walls. Screams echoed. Then, slowly, the creatures began to retreat, their shadows twisting back into the corridors. The room vibrated violently as the final pulse surged, sealing the chamber completely. Noah collapsed to the floor, coughing, blood running from cuts and burns. Lyra caught him just as his knees gave out. Seelan knelt beside him, her glowing eyes filled with gratitude and awe. You saved us," Seelan whispered, voice trembling. A human saved us. Noah's body shook from exhaustion, pain, and adrenaline. He could barely speak. We survive. Together, he croaked. Lyra laid a hand on his chest. You chose courage, she said softly. Not because it was easy, not because it was safe, but because it was right. That makes you more than a human. That makes you hope. Noah tried to smile, but the pain was overwhelming. His vision blurred, and the hum of the walls echoed in his head. Yet, even in that moment, he felt something stronger than fear or pain. He felt purpose. The chamber was quiet now. The devourers had retreated for now. Outside, chaos reigned, but inside, 3 unlikely allies had survived. Noah's chest heaved as he lay on the floor. Lyra and Seelan supported him. He looked up at them, sweat and blood streaking his face, and realized that he had done something he never imagined. He had stood when fear was strongest. He had acted when survival demanded courage, and in that choice, in that human choice, the 2 alien women had lived. Noah closed his eyes, finally letting the pain and relief wash over him. He had paid a cost, his body burned, his muscles screamed, but he had chosen. And in choosing, he had changed everything. Noah woke to quiet. The hum of the Wayfarer's promise was softer now, the alarms silenced. The chaos of the Devourer attack had moved past this sector of the ship. He felt every ache in his body, burned hands, bruised ribs, his muscles trembling. But the most surprising ache was in his heart. Relief, fear, pride, all tangled together. Lyra and Seelan were there beside him, kneeling on the floor. Their skin, pale blue and glowing faintly in the dim light, looked almost serene after the terror of the last hours. Their eyes met his, silver light reflecting something Noah had never expected to see in aliens' gratitude. Real, deep gratitude. You're awake, Seelan whispered. Her voice was soft, almost musical. You survived. Noah tried to smile. I had to, he said. You trusted me. I couldn't. I couldn't let you die. Lyra reached out, her hand brushing his shoulder. No human has ever done this for us, she said quietly. Not soldiers, not explorers, not civilians. You chose to stand when every instinct told you to run. That is courage. Noah's chest tightened. He had never felt proud of himself before. He had fixed circuits, carried tools, followed orders. But this was different. He had stood against monsters, against fear, and survived. Not alone, but because he had chosen to act when it mattered. The weeks that followed were a blur. Noah's body healed faster than he expected. Humans recovered strangely quickly, even from injuries that would have killed other species. But it was the recognition that lingered. The Galactic Council convened days later. Every major species, every envoy, gathered in a massive chamber orbiting a neutral star. Lyra and Seelan stepped forward to speak. Humans were present, though few in number. Noah stood at the back, quiet, exhausted, but listening. A human civilian, Lyra began. Her voice echoing through the hall, chose to act when the galaxy itself wavered in fear. He was not trained. He carried no weapons. He was not bound by duty. And yet, he chose to protect life. Seelan continued, her eyes scanning the room, silver light reflecting the harsh chamber lights. The Devourers hunt without mercy, without reason. They have killed our kind across the stars. And yet, this human stood. He faced them. He fought with courage, with compassion, with determination beyond comprehension. The room was silent. Not a single voice spoke. Every species understood. Every envoy, every council member understood something new about humanity. Noah shifted uncomfortably. He was just a maintenance worker, just a human, but now he felt the weight of their attention, the quiet awe, and he realized something. Humans were not feared for size, or strength, or weapons. Humans were feared, respected, because they dared to care when no one else would. Weeks turned into months. Noah returned to his work, fixing circuits, repairing panels, doing the small jobs no one else wanted. The galaxy moved on, and yet he noticed the subtle changes. Alien species treated humans differently now. There was curiosity, yes, but also a strange respect. They whispered about human courage, about how one ordinary man could change the outcome of life and death for others. One evening, as Noah walked through the quiet halls of the ship, Lyra and Seelan appeared. They were both smiling faintly. Their presence was calm, almost warm. "You entered the wrong room," Seelan said softly. "But in doing so, you entered the right moment." Noah shook his head. "I just did what I had to do." Lyra's eyes glimmered. "No, humans do not just act because they have to. You acted because you could. That is why the galaxy notices you." Noah felt something rise in his chest. Pride, perhaps. But it was more than pride. It was a quiet, steady understanding. Humanity had a place in the stars, not because humans were strong or fast or technologically advanced, but because humans could stand, could choose courage, even when the odds were hopeless. From that day forward, humans were no longer the small, fragile newcomers. Stories of Noah's courage spread quietly among the stars, not as propaganda, not as exaggeration, but as truth. A human civilian, a small maintenance worker, had shown the galaxy the meaning of bravery. Noah returned to his work, to his quiet life, but he carried something new with him, a certainty that humanity mattered, that even in a universe filled with monsters and dangers, the choice to stand, to act, to protect, could change everything. And the two alien women who had trusted him, Lyra and Scylla, never forgot. Whenever they spoke of humanity, they spoke of courage, of hope, and of the human who had stood in the line of fire when no one else could. Noah, small, ordinary, human, had shown them something no alien had ever fully understood, that even the weakest could be the strongest. When their heart and choice were right, Noah walked slowly through the quiet halls of the Wayfarer's promise. The ship was calm now. The alarms had long stopped, the devourers had been driven back, and the damage had been repaired. The flickering lights that had once signaled terror now glowed softly, almost peacefully. He passed the door he had accidentally opened months ago. Deck 9, the room where everything had changed. It was sealed permanently now, glowing faintly with alien symbols, as if the ship itself remembered what had happened inside. Noah paused, his hand hovering over the smooth metal. For a moment, he could feel the memory of the fear, the screams, the pulse of energy, the heat of his own courage. A soft voice behind him startled him. "You're here." Lyra and Seelan stood at the end of the corridor. Their pale blue skin gleamed under the lights, their silver eyes soft but shining with pride. They walked toward him, their movements calm but graceful. "You entered the wrong room," Seelan said, her voice low, almost teasing. "But in doing so, you entered the right moment." Noah smiled weakly. Maybe, he said. Or maybe it was just luck. Lyra shook her head gently. It was choice, courage, humanity. That is what matters. Noah looked down, feeling a warmth in his chest. He had never thought of himself as important. He had been a simple maintenance worker, a human in a galaxy far bigger than him. But now he understood something. Being human meant something here. Not because humans were strong, not because they were fast, not because they had advanced technology, but because humans could act when it mattered most. Seelan stepped closer, her glowing eyes meeting his. You stood when every instinct told you to run. You acted when survival demanded fear. You chose to protect life when it could have been easier to save yourself. That is why the galaxy noticed you. Noah's throat tightened. He swallowed, feeling something heavy and powerful inside him. It was pride, yes, but also humility and understanding. He had learned that courage was not measured in victories or weapons. Courage was measured in choice, in standing when no one else could, in caring when no one else would. Lyra reached out and touched the metal wall. We will tell this story, not as a legend, not as exaggeration, but as truth. A human, small and fragile, stood against